Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And in this video, we're going to be discussing the 3-4 season of Survivor, which is called Survivor Game Changers. And of course, this season was just ended just this week. And we're doing this video. If you hear that cheering, and live across the street from a ball field, and they have a softball game going on. So if you hear the cheering, please excuse the noise. Excuse me. The 44th season of Survivor was called Survivor Game Changers, and they brought back a slew of the former players. Fortunately, I don't think any of them were from the first season of Survivor, but from the second season, pretty much up to now, for the most part. And they brought back several iconic or classic players on the show, but particularly Brad Culpepper, who finished second this season, on the final tribal council, and Sarah, who was the former police officer, she won the spoiler for those of you who didn't see the finale. Won the $1 million and won the 34th season of Survivor, which is good because it's somebody who never won before. Even though there were a couple of returning players who had won, Quentin Malcolm, and you had Sandra, who was like the queen of Survivor because she played it twice, won twice. As a matter of fact, was never gotten either a single vote against her. In the 2 seasons she played until, of course, in the final tribal council where she won the $1 million. This time, she was like voted out, I think like 5th or 6th in this season. So the queen is dead. Long live the, and I actually wrote this to her in her Twitter account. And I said, "Long live the queen is dead. Long live the queen." Okay. And of course, she liked that. She got a kick out of it. And I think I wasn't the only one who wrote that on her Twitter feed, but it's kind of funny that's to bang on a little bit. The queen is dead. Hey, the queen is finally dead. But of course, this season did a lot of crazy stuff did go on this season. Most notably, of course, the most controversial moment was when Jeff, from Survivor Australia, outed Zeke for being transgender. We already knew that these two guys were already homosexuals, along with Ty. So you had 3 homosexuals on this season of Survivor, and I'm not going to make fun of them for being gay or any of that stuff. I'm not going to go there. But in one tribal council, when Jeff was, was literally kicked off the show right then and there, was because of the fact that he outed Zeke for being transgender. We already, like you just said, the two of them, we already knew they were gay already. Especially from the previous seasons, they admitted that they were homosexuals. But for some reason, Jeff said that came out with the news that Zeke was actually a transgender, and that started a huge uproar. To the point that the very day or next day or 2 days later, after the episode had aired, Jeff lost his job. He was fired almost immediately. Because he did that, because people found it so offensive that he outed somebody, which I think people kind of overreacted, right? I mean, I'm not saying you don't have a right to be angry, or at least the gay community that had the right to be upset, or the transgender community had every right to be upset. Even Zeke had the right to be upset, but Zeke had something that Jeff didn't have, and it was class. They didn't get. He was. I think at that moment he was angry and disappointed that Jeff would do that. But after a while, he forgave him. Even at that moment, he was angry at first, and then he forgave him. He forgave him that he outed him. I mean, which is just, I mean, I'm not gay. I'm not homosexual. I'm not homosexual. I'm not transgender in any way. But for somebody to out another human being like that, No, it's just outrageous. I mean, I'm surprised there wasn't the gay community wasn't protesting CBS to take the show off the air. Because of that. I mean, I'm very surprised that the gay community, or at least the transgender community, didn't protest CBS because of that episode. I mean, there was an uproar, but not to the extent that I thought would happen, because I thought that the gays would take everything so seriously, and and protest CBS because of that. But that controversy lasted maybe like 2 weeks, maybe, if that, and then the controversy seemed to die down, especially when Zeke was then voted out. Not like a few weeks later, he was voted out. So after, I guess, because Zeke was voted out too, the controversy with Zeke being out as transgender kind of died out. But for the final episode of Survivor, was definitely one of the better episodes. I am surprised that they had that many. They had, I think, like about 6 people left, and going into the final episode, which is a lot. They usually have maybe 5 people left, or 4 or 5 people going into the final episode, but they had like 6. Because there's also one of the few seasons where we didn't have anybody kicked off because of an injury or some kind of medical thing. So you had like 6 people in the final, and to me, I don't know how many. Troyzan finished third. I don't know how many votes he actually got, but I think that's kind of ridiculous that people will have, Survivor will have the final 3. I think they should cut it down, go back to the final 2. Because usually when they have the 3 people, usually at least one got stiffed without getting one vote. True, I wish that Jeff Probst on the live reunion show would say, hey, how many votes each one of the final 3 got. Sometimes he'll go into it, sometimes he'll say, oh, you got, or the person who won got, let's say, 9 votes or 10 votes. No matter how many, whatever the number, the jury number is, players they had in the jury, they say, oh, you got 9 votes, all 9 votes, or you got all 10 votes. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes Jeff does that if the person who won got all the votes. But I really would like to know who got how many votes. I know Brad got at least 3 votes. At least 3 votes he got, because Jeff was reading it. So Brad got at least 3 votes. I know Sarah got, I think, at least 6 votes, and I guess maybe Troyzan got maybe 1, maybe. But the final total was not announced, and I wish. I know Jeff just reads enough votes for whoever wins the $1 million, or whoever gets voted out. Enough votes to say, oh, that so and so gets, or let's say Ty gets the majority vote, the majority amount of votes. So that's it. I'm not going to read any more votes. But at least for the final tribal, I think Jeff should read all the votes. I mean, say, hey, or at least at the reunion show part, or at least the opening segment of the live reunion show, he should say, hey, this one got this many votes, and the final vote total is this. Sarah got 6, Troyzan got 1, and Brad got 3, or whatever the amount is. I think Jeff should do it. That's my one nitpick over every time when Jeff Probst does the final vote. But the final show, it was definitely one of the better final episodes. And one thing, of course, last few years, let's say 5-6 years, maybe as much as maybe 10 years. The 2 things that are missing from the show is, of course, the core challenge, because the first 6 or 7 times it's been done, the person who wins the core and the core challenge loses the $1 million. So I guess they kind of stopped doing that, or stopped giving out a core. The other thing was that they stopped doing when they had the final tribal, the final immunity challenge, where how many contenders are left, they walk up a hill and they capture all the torches from all the people who have been, voted out at that time. Those 2 things as a Survivor fan like I am, it's really fun to watch or to see those moments. But like I said, for some reason they cut it out. I guess for at least for the torches thing, that's been cut. I guess it's been cut out as well. I guess for the sake of time, they cut that bit out, and of course the core challenge. They got tired of giving the person a core, or core challenge, and the person loses $1 million, or in order to make it to the final vote. Either they don't make it to the final vote, or they don't win $1 million. But as a season, I think that's definitely one of the better seasons. And of course, it looks like in the next season, the 31st season of Survivor. I can't believe the 35 seasons of this thing. They're going to do. It looks like in the store, it's going to be like 3 tribes at the store again for the next season, and it's for like certain unique personality traits from people in particular tribes. I think they're going to do that bit again. Instead of like beauty, brains, and born, they're going to do some another similar thing like that. But not going to call beauty, brains, and born. They're going like blue collar. It's kind of like a blue collar, white collar thing. Well, it's not going to be called blue collar, white collar. It's going to be called something else, and that's probably what they're rephrasing it for the next season for Survivor. So it's going to be very interesting for them to. They're always trying to rechange the premise of the shows. But who knows? I mean, I'm surprised that Survivor is still as successful as it is, considering the fact it's been on for 17 years, and it's still, to me as a Survivor fan, it's still fun to watch the show. I'm not going to be able to get into it because I'm not that, or apply for it because I'm not that physical. I'm not that. Because I don't know how to swim, so they have a lot of swimming challenges on the show. So I'm not going to be good at any of that stuff, any of the physical stuff, because I'm a klutz. I'm awkward, so I'm not going to be able to do any of the physical stuff because of it. It's going to be too hard for me. So that's why I never apply for it. But I still sit back on my couch and watch the show because the show is still good. And I also watch it for the how many hot women are on this show. To be honest with you, well, at least I'm glad that kind of a hottie won. The show in Sarah the cop. So hopefully the show will go on for a few more years, maybe. And Jeff Probst is still very good at hosting the show. But sometimes he does wish to just shut up and let the survivors, the contestants on the show, concentrate on what they're doing, because then they have to concentrate, especially if they have the whole stay in place and concentrate. And of course, Jeff Probst, like Peter Jennings in the ABC 2000 show, he would just not shut up sometimes. But Jeff Probst is still a very good host on the show. And send a review of Survivor Game Changers. Please click on the video, please rate it. Feel free to subscribe to it. Please subscribe. Please comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel. And please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. You can check out all my videos and on my YouTube channel at rowdyc.com. There's OWDY, and then C.com. The homepage and Rowdy Reviewer, Chris Lee Moore. And if Harold giving you the time to watch this video, screw you. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.